You are listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast, where it's all about responding with confidence to the legal, financial, and personal challenges created by a disability, unexpected illness, or aging in general. Join us weekly as elder law attorneys Barbara McGinnis and Chris Johnson, along with other members of the Johnson McGinnis Elder Care Law and Estate Planning team, talk about the tools, techniques, strategies, and services that will make the elder care journey easier for everyone involved. Get ready, because aging starts now.
Welcome to Aging Starts Now, the podcast from Johnson McGinnis Elder Care Law and Estate Planning. We help individuals with families navigating the legal, financial, and personal decisions that come along with aging. I'm your host, Janel Heflin, one of the Elder Care Coordinators at Johnson McGinnis. Today, we're talking about a meaningful way to support the causes you care about while also making thoughtful financial and estate planning decisions. Joining me is Cathy Sheffield, Director of Philanthropic Partnerships with the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. Cathy is here to help us better understand donor-advised funds, how they work, the tax advantages they can provide, and why they are not just for the ultra-wealthy. We'll also discuss how charitable giving can become an important part of a family's estate plan and how it can leave a lasting impact on the community. Cathy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Janelle. I appreciate the offer to be here today.
To start, tell us about the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. What is your mission and how do you serve our community?
The Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee serves a 40-county region, literally in the middle of Tennessee, and our mission is to build a more thriving and inclusive community, not only for today but for generations to come. And we accomplish this by transforming thoughtful generosity into positive change. We connect generosity not only in Middle Tennessee, but across the country too. That's one of the myths about the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, is that we only work with Middle Tennessee nonprofits. But we work with many communities across the United States by serving people who not only love this region and want to make it stronger, but want to see a more thriving community across the country. We work with not only individuals, but we work with families, nonprofits, businesses, and professional advisors. And we consider individuals that work at your organization professional advisors. And we love, as you hinted to in the opening, we love to help people give during their lifetime, and we have a lot of different ways we can help facilitate that philanthropy. We also work with individuals to leave their legacy and make some contributions through their estate plans. In addition to that, whenever there's a community crisis or a community need, we work to help individuals respond to that. And what's so lovely about being in the role that I have, I always say I have the best job in the world, is that we get to help people make their philanthropic impact, no matter what that gift is, because every single gift has a story, and every donor that makes that gift wants to make a difference. So whether someone wants to support one nonprofit, an entire community in Middle Tennessee or across the United States, or they want to create their family legacy, we're here to help them accomplish those goals.
That's awesome. One of the services you offer is a donor-advised fund, sometimes called a DAF. What exactly is a donor-advised fund?
It's another great question. A donor-advised fund is I like to liken it to a charitable investment account. It's like a charitable checkbook. An individual or multiple individuals can make a charitable contribution into our community foundation. They get to claim one tax deduction for that contribution. That money is put into a fund, and it can be invested and it can grow tax-free. And that individual or other individuals that are named at the time of the creation can recommend grants to qualified nonprofits at any time in the future once it's created. and it allows generosity to be thoughtful instead of rushed. So it's not, you're able to get a solicitation, ask yourself how you want to participate in that opportunity, and then you can make a recommendation from your donor advised fund. So as I said, I often liken it to a charitable checking account, except for instead of paying your electric bill or your mortgage, you get to make recommendations to the organizations that you care about the most.
How does a donor advised fund work from a donor's perspective?
Another good question. The donor, as I've said, the donor gets to maintain advisory privileges to recommend grants out of the fund to their favorite causes. But also from the donor's perspective, is it really simplifies their giving. There is one tax receipt. They get to keep their records in one place. If at the end of the year they have several organizations that they've received those annual mailings from, we all get them. We get a mailing from maybe our alma mater or the food bank or maybe your children's school. You're able to take all of those solicitations and make those recommendations at one time through our online portal. And it's pretty seamless. Once you're on our portal, you're able to do that. Now, the grants do have to be recommended to qualified 501c3 public charities by the IRS, but you can choose to send those grants anonymously or publicly, which is a wonderful way of making a gift if you're interested in having that anonymity and not necessarily know that you decided to make that gift. And the other thing that's awesome is that there is no legal timeline or annual minimum payout deadline that you have to have in order to use your charitable dollars in your fund.
Is that why someone might establish a donor advised fund instead of giving directly to individual charities throughout the year?
Yes. So a lot of times the reason why an individual will want to do this is because they want to do the donor advised fund is they want to be a little bit more intentional about their giving. And I found that many times people, they don't establish it necessarily just because of the tax benefits, but they want to be a little bit more intentional. Perhaps they want to work with their family to recommend grants to different organizations. They want to pass on the tradition to their children of being generous, or they like having it be organized in that one fund so that they can make distributions from that fund and know exactly what they have to give. Another reason, as I just touched on a second ago, is that anonymity. Many times people want to support different organizations, but they don't necessarily want to get on additional mailing lists, or they don't want the general public to know that a donation was made by them to that organization. And giving through your DAF or your donor advised fund allows you to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. And what are some of the tax advantages associated with the donor advised fund?
This is one of my favorite questions because the tax advantages are great, actually. You get that immediate income tax deduction for the gift that was made to create the fund. You can continue to make contributions to that fund throughout the year or in subsequent years in the future. You can contribute a lot of different assets. You can do stock, closely held business interests, real estate, complex assets. All of those things can be given to your donor advised fund. And then there's the potential avoidance of capital gains tax on those appreciated assets. And then, as I referenced earlier, you get to have those assets grow tax-free inside the fund. As you probably know, most people do not itemize on their taxes because of the standard deduction is larger than a lot of their eligible expenses that can be deducted from your taxes at the end of the year, like your mortgage interest and your state and local taxes. And then, of course, charitable deductions or charitable contributions contribute to that too. So, for example, I'll give you some numbers. For example, in 2026, the standard deduction is $16,100 for single filers and $32,200 for married couples filing jointly. And sometimes individuals don't have enough eligible deductions to hit that number. So what they do is they just claim the standard deduction. Since the time these standard deductions got to that size of a level, people have been doing tax bunching. And that's a strategic plan that helps people save, where you consolidate multiple years of deduction expenses, like your charitable donations or your property taxes, into a single year for tax purposes. And that way you can push your total deductions above the standard threshold so that you can itemize. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you can use that fund to make those gifts over several years. So sometimes people will do it every year, every other year, or even every 3 years. And they can use that donor advised fund to make recommendations to their favorite charities during that whole period of time.
Really interesting. Thank you. A common misconception is that donor advised funds are only for wealthy people. Do you have to be, quote, rich to open a donor fund?
You know, if I could retire that myth that charitable planning and donor advised funds are only for wealthy families, I would totally do it. Donor advised funds are such an amazing tool for, I would say, more mainstream individuals and philanthropists, not the ultra wealthy. We have teachers, we have small business owners, we have a lot of retirees, we have young professionals. We have a giving group of young professionals that we work with, and then families who just simply want to give consistently and pass on that legacy and tradition of generosity. It's really less about how much you have, and it's about being more intentional with what you have and how you choose to give.
Interesting. Are there any minimum requirements to open a fund?
So for us at the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, the answer to that question is it's $5,000 to open the fund here. That's a very achievable number for most people who make charitable gifts throughout the year. And I think that, not to challenge your question, but I think the better question is whether or not the tool fits someone's charitable giving goals more than the amount that they're giving away. So yes, we do have a minimum requirement to open the fund, but thereafter, it's just something that they can kind of maintain as they go.
Right.
And then we can visit with them about what their goals are with charitable.
Right, but just get started with it.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Can you give us some examples of how you've seen families use the funds as part of their estate planning?
Yes, this is a wonderful tool to help individuals through that process. We will work with individuals who maybe they have a small business or they have a lot of real estate. They've decided they're going to retire and they're going to start their retirement planning and estate planning, and they want to sell that business. Perhaps they don't have a family member who wants to carry the tradition of the business moving forward. We can help them by setting up a fund and utilizing some of that business interest to establish the fund, and that will help them with not only their current tax situation, but their estate taxes as well. And remember, we have the ability to accept most assets. If it has a fair market value and it can be sold, it is something that we can probably use to create a fund here at the Community Foundation and help folks to begin kind of consolidating their assets. One of the things that I love about a donor advised fund is that many families like to allow children and grandchildren to help recommend those grants. And another really cool thing about it is that sometimes people want to memorialize or honor individuals. So I see a lot of individuals wanting to honor their parents, maybe memorialize a child or a spouse. And this storytelling is through philanthropy is really nice to see, and it kind of puts a big old bow on their philanthropy in their later years.
That's really nice, Cathy. If listeners remember only one thing about the Community Foundation from our conversation today, what would you want it to be?
I would want them to remember that you don't have to have extraordinary wealth in order to make an extraordinary impact. That they simply need to have a heart for the community and the organizations they love and have a plan. And that's why we're here to help them. And we're here to help them create that plan.
That sounds wonderful, and look forward to learning more about the Community Foundation, and want to say thank you for sharing your knowledge and helping us better understand how donor-advised funds can make charitable giving more accessible, flexible, and impactful. Thank you, Cathy.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Whether you're looking for a tax-efficient way to support the organizations you love, or you are hoping to create a lasting legacy for future generations, charitable planning can be an important part of a comprehensive estate plan. If you would like to learn more about the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, visit cfmt.org. And if you are considering how charitable giving fits into your overall estate plan, the team at Johnson McGinnis Elder Care Law and Estate Planning is here to help. Thank you for listening to Aging Starts Now. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who wants to make a lasting difference through thoughtful planning. Until next time, remember, aging doesn't start one day, aging starts now.
Thank you for listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast. For more information about today's show, visit tn-elderlaw.com, click on the Free Resources tab, and then click on Aging Starts Now. You'll find the show notes there. And while you're at it, why not check out all the free resources available at tn-elderlaw.com? Document downloads, the Johnson McGinnis blog, educational videos, informative articles, helpful links, a TV show, and more. It's all there, free for the taking. If you enjoy listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast, please subscribe, rate the show, or leave us a review. It's easy to do on whatever app you use to listen. We would love your feedback on the show. Aging Starts Now. We'll be back next week with more candid discussions about the challenges created by aging, disability, and unexpected illness.